I've made no small thing about my love for asymmetry in games. My favorite card game of all time is an asymmetric affair of hacker versus corporation, after all. While it can be cumbersome to describe to each player how they individually play in asymmetric games, it does wonders for not only replay value, but also for immersion. Today's game takes asymmetry and applies it not to the play, but to the actual time you play it in. Our provided review copy of The Greatest Thief comes to us from designer Andrew Cantrell by way of the Game Crafter, and there's some really neat ideas in here. To borrow a phrase from one of my favorite Avengers, it's a time heist. Let me show you how this works. Our unboxing is a simple affair, removing the top cover to reveal a stash of baggies, a tuck box for the game's heist cards, a rulebook, and 2 player boards. Serviceable, but not very sexy. The main thrust of this game is really neat though, so let's get right to that. Our entire game lives and dies on this tiny artifact token. Each player starts the game by hiding it somewhere in their building, along with the 4 starting security measures to guard it. These each go face down in an empty slot. You're given $2,000 as a starting bankroll and a training card which outlines your skills. The object of the heist is to hack, sneak, and brute force your way past these countermeasures and acquire your opponent's artifact. Succeed, and you hide it somewhere on your map and give your opponent one final turn to steal it back. Fail to overcome even one security measure and you flee, leaving the blaring alarm face up for your opponent to know just how far you got. To do this, each player is given 3 actions on their turn. First, you can train up your abilities by paying your mentors. The higher you want to train, the more it costs, and you can only train up to 3 levels for each training action taken. Add up the total cost from the top of the card, return that amount of money to the bank, and then mark your card with the corresponding upgrades. No montage needed, sadly. Your second option is to perform a small heist. I mean, even Debbie Ocean didn't steal the Toussaint on her very first day. Draw the 3 heist cards from the front of the safe deck, and then you must choose one to attempt. Most feature a series of skill checks to pass. Roll both dice and add any training bonuses you've got to the total. If it's higher or matching, move on to the next. Fail to beat even one, and you suffer whatever consequences are listed on the card. You could end your turn right then and there, or you could end up losing even an additional turn. Risk versus reward. Complete the heist successfully and you get paid off, or gain some other ability you can save for later. Finally, you can attempt to infiltrate your opponent's lair and steal their artifact. Starting at the start, a very good place to start, you'll flip over the token at your location. If it's a security system, you'll roll both dice and add your training bonuses in that skill. Again, match or beat the number listed, and you flip the token face down again and move to the next spot on the map. If you reveal the artifact, nope, yes, you will then place it somewhere on your map and finish your turn. Your opponent gets one last turn to steal it back. If you fail to beat a security system, you leave that marker face up on its slot and end your action. But Nicholas, you say, there are no player screens. No way of hiding your actions from your opponent. Won't they see everything you're doing? They would indeed, friendly viewer, but designer Andrew Cantrell has an ace up his sleeve. This is an asymmetric game, as I mentioned before, but instead of each player having different actions or win conditions, this game is actually played asymmetrically, in time. That's right, I take my turn when I come to the table and my opponent isn't here. All of my actions are taken in secret because my opponent is off fetching me bubble teas or chicken wings. When my turn is complete, I place the turn marker on my opponent's board, and then I go off to eat my chicken wings. They take their turn when I'm away. And now, you see where the real risk in Greatest Thief is. This game simply cannot be played traditionally. The closest I got during my testing was having us alternate turns by going into another room. So, let's talk about whether or not that works, because changing the way you play a game, especially a physical game, is a very bold choice. When played as the designer intended, this is actually a really cool experience. Setting aside the overall physical components for a moment, and I'm going to get back to those in a second, the idea of coming to a game in progress, waiting for me to take a turn knowing almost nothing about the state of my opponent's board, there's such an amazing tension there. Because on your turn, you can also pick up and move your whole security grid around. The artifact could be at the very beginning of the map. It shouldn't be at all, but it could. How will you know unless you look? And that very easy 4+ digital lock that was in the yard to begin with last time might now be a 9 unbeatable 12 plus security guard. Navigating your opponent's house becomes a delicious cat and mouse game that maybe you don't even choose to do. You could theoretically spend an entire turn upgrading your skills and outfitting your house, and your opponent will have no idea what you did or how to stop you next turn. This central idea is such a spectacular one that I really wish this game had found a proper developer. The fact that it didn't leaves us with a mostly okay but not good physical presence and visual presence as well. And I do get it. This is a very tough sell to a company looking to sell a lot of copies of a game. People want to play board games together, in person, with their friends at a table. Greatest Thief, in my opinion, really wants to be an online video game, but splits the difference at an asymmetric physical experience. At the end of the day, I'm really torn on whether or not to recommend this one. It's such a boom or bust box. I find myself wanting to recommend it because I want to reward the designer for this really cool idea, but then the hoops you have to jump through to get there are so many. Like a high-stakes heist, I suppose. Everyone's got a plan until something goes wrong. Greatest Thief is a mixed bag. It misses where there obviously wasn't funding to make it stand out and takes a giant gamble on a totally new way of playing physical meat-based games. Let's go through our checklist before I give you my final thoughts. In the box, rulebook clear and non-gender pronouns. Our rulebook is overall pretty good, with lots of good examples. There's some confusion on some basic game events, which I wish had been more clearly laid out, however. It has no gendered language outside the gameplay examples, using the second person you and yours throughout. Iconography clear. While most of the time you're only relying on iconography visually rather than having to translate pictures to words and then back again, everything's just so small on the table that squinting becomes almost necessary. I know that I'm almost years old now, but I swear it's not me. Packaging well done. While there are more than enough baggies for tokens, cash, and envelopes, it's a game crafter game. There's no coordination to the box at all. On the table, good representation. With a lack of art, there's no characters in the game, save for a few oblique references to Sharon, Lars, and a few others on the heist cards. Component quality, medium. Card thickness is fine, and everything else is laser-cut tokens. There's single-sided paper money, which unfortunately has Game Crafter pasted all over it, and a single dry erase marker which lasted only a few plays before showing signs of drying out. The individual player envelopes are a nice include and solve the hidden information problem very nicely. Replay value. Medium-high. With the double-sided player boards and being able to hide your artifact wherever you want in your building, there's some interesting variations possible here. I'd love some additional bigger maps though. Fun to lose. Given the way Greatest Thief plays, the game's end can be very anticlimactic. One of my games ended on the third turn with my opponent rolling absolutely nuts and walking past my security. I failed laughably to steal it back, and that was the ballgame. If you're playing this game in a truly asymmetric fashion, it's very likely that you'll end up texting your opponent when you lose, and that'll be it. The possibility to win on literally any turn except the first keeps it from becoming a just get this over with affair though, and that's welcome. Actually playing Greatest Thief can be a neat change of pace for busy gamers who may not have time to play conventionally. However, if you want to play this with another person in your house, it's awkward to do. I'm honestly on the fence about this game overall. I really like the idea here, but I also wonder who this game's audience is. Designer Andrew Cantrell is clearly trying something out here, and that kind of experimentation is to be applauded. Greatest Thief, when played at its purest, is very cool. I just don't know how often that's going to be. I'm Nicholas, reminding you to help protect the game population. Always sleeve your cards. Hey everyone, if you liked our video, please hit that sub button and ring that bell for notifications. Check out all of our other offerings at goodluckhighfive.com, and please consider becoming a patron of the channel over at patreon.com/GLHFmagic. It helps us keep making reviews, videos, podcasts, and you can become a member for any dollar amount. We're also always looking for new games to review. You can reach us at glhfmagic@gmail.com. You can follow me, Captain N, the Game Master, at CaptainNGM on Twitter and Instagram, and follow the channel at GLHFmagic. Remember, please shop at your local game store whenever possible. Until next time, I'm Nicholas, and good luck. High five.